All right, going live. Shalom, shalom.
Shalom.
First and foremost, before we get started with this lesson, we'd like to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Racha HaKwadash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone who taught us the truth and rule well. Peace and blessings unto the hopeful elect pushing his word throughout the four corners of the earth in truth, righteousness, and sincerity. To you we say shalom.
Shalom.
The brothers of Great Millstone, Charlotte, coming at you again through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai. And the title of this lesson, well, pretty much I entitled it, What is the Charagma? All right. And in this video, we're going to go into the root words. We're going to go into what is the Charagma or the mark, right? The Bible speaks of and break down pretty much is what it is and what the scriptures say that it is, right? The scriptures tell us that, how's it go? That there's no private interpretation.
Mm-hmm.
Let me try to find that real quick before we get started. Because you got other people out here that are trying to break this thing down like they're the prophets.
2 Peter 1:20.
Okay, 2 Peter 1:20. 2 Peter chapter 1 and verse 20. It says, knowing this first, that no prophecy of the scripture is of any private interpretation, right? And the scripture also says, the Most High revealeth his secret unto his servants the prophets, right? Let me see. Let me get that real quick.
Can you get the word for private as well?
Oh, yeah. I'll get that. Private. Word here. What's lucky? You wanted to get that? Idios.
Okay. It says, pertaining to oneself, one's own, belonging to oneself. It says private, pretty much going into, it says private or separate acquaintance.
Mm-hmm.
But pretty much, the Lord has sent out, the scriptures say the Lord sent forth the apostles last, and the Lord, sent his men coming in the correct spirit, because you got a lot of, you have a lot of different doctrines and they claim to, have the truth, you see, but a lot of times they're coming with a private interpretation and actually coming in the spirit,
That's right. That's right.
What I mean by other, people that have other beliefs, you have like so-called Christians, you got so-called like Baptists, I think Presbyterian, Episcopal, one of them words, Episcopal, if I'm saying that right. Pretty much, you got different denominations, which essentially they have private interpretations of the scriptures, you see, but it's not of any private interpretation. The scriptures only has one way.
That's right. That's right. And you got so many breakdowns of excuse me, of what we're going to go into. Revelation, the 13th chapter, the latter verses, right? What is the mark? 666 and all this and that. And you got a lot of these people, bringing out false doctrines, confusing the masses, leading the flock astray. Even so-called people that call themselves Hebrew Israelites, are breaking this down incorrectly, teaching our people something that's not right, that's not correct according to the scriptures, saying it's an embargo, saying it's sin, saying it's all these things that ain't really it, right? But to the spirit, the Most High has had it to where the Most High woke up the true prophets.
I got that word too. It's that word is Episcopal.
Episcopal.
Yep.
God. This is Amos 3:7. It says, surely the Lord power will do nothing, but he revealeth his secret unto his servants the prophets. And that's what we're seeing. That's the reason why we're seeing talks of brain C-hips, implantable C-hips, digital currency, everything going digital. This is the reason why we're seeing all this, is because first it was revealed unto our apostles here at Great Millstone. It was revealed unto Apostle Tahar that this is the MOTB through the Spirit, and we're seeing that this is it. So again, the Most High is dealing with the apostles. These other camps that ain't breaking down the scriptures right, or ain't saying that the MOTB is a micro C hip, they're going off, right? But we're gonna go into it right now. Let's start off with that Revelation. Get it real quick. Revelation 13.
I'll read it.
Con.
You're starting at 16.
We can start at 15.
Con, this is Revelation chapter 13 and verse 15. It says, "And he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed."
Right, the image of the beast going into the culture, the philosophies, the ways of Babylon. You know, the Rome, what's it called, the pretty much, yeah, the culture, the
Pretty
doc
much the system.
the system itself, right? And that's being brought, that has been brought back through America. But now, it says, and cause as many as will not worship the image of the beast should be killed. So if you ain't down with this way of life, with with America's system, this system, you're gonna be killed. You're gonna be put to death, right? And that's gonna be either by exile, being exiled. You ain't gonna be able to access being so-called off off grid, or you're going to be actually put to death and beheaded, as it speaks about in the book of Revelation. Believe is what, the 14th chapter. It mentions that as well. You're going to be beheaded for those that were beheaded for not taking the mark, roughly paraphrasing. But you can go ahead.
Con, verse 16, "He causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a charagma in their right hand or in their foreheads."
Right. So you're going to receive this mark, right, in your right hand or in your foreheads. So what else can this be? You have people breaking it down a way that's so damn confusing, but it's simple. A mark. What is a mark? Let's get into that. Now, I had this picture pulled up in the beginning, right? The mark of the beast is the RFID hip, right? Mark. It goes into what?
Mm-hmm.
Charagma, and then the root word charax, and then grapho, as we're gonna get into. But as you see right here in these pictures, what is it showing? Exactly what we're seeing, which is about to come to pass. That
Right, about
one.
to mention too, you got money, you got
Mhm.
a identification card, you got a passport, you got fingerprints. Pretty much the identification is pretty much going to be tied into that. So essentially, going back to Revelation chapter 13 and verse 15, says pretty much those that didn't worship the image will be killed. Roughly paraphrasing, you see, because those that don't ultimately participate in this system, they're going to be outcast from society. And then which is going to um, in the end or ultimately end up in death.
Yes, right. That's right. But I got this word right here, right? Charagma, which is the word for mark, and it says a stamp, an imprinted mark. This is of the mark stamped on the forehead or the right hand as a badge of the followers of the Antichrist, which we know that's going into the anti-Hamashiach spirit. Not really an actual person that's gonna, as the Christians say, but this is actually going into that spirit of anti-Hamashiach. If you're against what the scriptures say, you're anti-Hamashiach. But anyway, it says the mark branded upon horses. So this is a brand. This is a mark.
Mm.
This is a branding, right? Which this is what Esau is trying to put to mark those, or to brand those that's going to be a servant, a slave unto him, right? It says thing carved, sculpture, graven work in a idolatrous image of idolatrous images. Exactly. It's going to be like an idol,
Mm-hmm.
because this is going to be given unto Jake as a form of salvation, and you're going to have to actually bow yourself and to take this thing. You're going to have to submit yourself into this thing,
Right.
right? So let me see. Let me get actually let's go ahead and get this. The word karax. We're here for karax. It says a pale or stake, a palisade.
Right. You touch on pale or a stake. Pretty much is something that you like stab into the ground. You
Mm-hmm.
know.
Mm-hmm. Like you have a fortress, right? Because it says a palisade or rampart. It says pales between which earth, stone, trees, and timbers are heaped and packed together. So like a wall. Like back in the when whenever Esau first came over here, right? They would put down these like a wall with like big ass logs, and they'll be like pointed at the top, and
Yep.
they'll be inserted in the bottom, like into the earth, so they can stand up straight. Well, essentially, the needle is going to be that palisade that's going to go into your skin and insert that C hip into your skin. That's essentially what this is. This is what's going into, right? And then when you go into the word right here, grapho, the word here says to write with reference to the form of the letters, to delineate letters on a tablet, parchment paper, or other material. It says the point I wanted to get is down here. It says to commit to writing things not to be forgotten, write down, record, right, or record. And that's essentially what this MOTB, the C hip, is going to have the ability to do. You're going to be able to store information like like this picture right here, right? You can be able to store your identity, your passport. You can be able to have all that information stored, your medical information. All that's going to be stored within this device right here, which is going to
Right.
be implanted under your skin. You
Right. And
got
like pretty much I think somebody had said it was like one of them like lower level elites or whatever. They was pretty much like they said that China was like a model for the whole world, because like if you look at America, pretty much you got where everything is going over to digital. Like
hmm
they pretty much like credit is almost damn near everything in America. That's essentially how it is over in China. To
hmm
where it's like, all right, well, if you got a like a bad social rating, so to speak, you can't really participate, which essentially serves as a model or as a prototype, for what they plan on doing. Because just like they did with what was the vid, it's the same thing they doing now. It always starts in the east and then it comes over to the west.
Right. Yeah, and that's what we're seeing now. We're seeing more talks of that digital ID, right? Which is going to lead up to the MOTB, the mark, this charagma that we're talking about, right? So we're seeing the steps, the path being laid out that's going to lead to the inevitable rollout of this MOTB, right? But again, going back to what we were saying, it says to commit to writing things not to be forgotten, write down, record. So everything is going to be like Esau always tells you, right? In some of these videos, you look up on YouTube, uh, implantable micro C hip, and then you have Edomites talking about how you ain't gonna be, you don't need to carry your keys no more. You don't gotta carry your wallet. You don't gotta carry
Hmm.
all these things that you can potentially lose,
Right.
get lost or stolen. Now all you can have it is in your hand. You were gonna say
Hmm.
something, Mark?
Cause like pretty much they it was already with the you paid stuff with your hands. You had the silver, then
Mm-hmm.
you had the dollar. Then when it went to the card, and then it went from swiping the card to you got the chip. Then
Mm-hmm.
they got the chip, and then it went from the chip. Now you got it in the phone. Now you tapping the phone.
Mm-hmm.
So it's all programmed because now you can put your ID in your phone. What I'm saying? You could put your ID. You could put your. I'm not sure if you can put your passport, but I know you can put your ID, the card,
Mm-hmm.
pretty much putting everything in one. Making
Right.
it kind of like all inclusive.
Mm-hmm.
If that's the word inclusive, pretty much making it to where it's going to be it's programming the people's minds to ultimately being used to already having everything with them. You know.
Right. Right, because with that digital ID, what they're talking about is encroaching more and more into your onto your body. Now they're
Mhm.
talking about biometrics, right?
Yep.
Face scans, palm scans, fingerprint scans, right? All
Hmm.
these things that leads up, which is like you mentioned, is programming people's minds to get used to the idea of of having your body, be used as a form of identification. You know,
Yep.
you ain't gonna need a card no more. Now, like you have that Amazon One, where you have to scan your palm. It scans your palm as a way to identify who you are. so that way you can pay. So all these things is leading up to, like we mentioned, the MOTB, and we seeing it. It's plain as day. This thing is not, the MOTB is not a sin, or it's not an embargo. That makes no goddamn sense, right? Again, the prophecy is not a private interpretation. Roughly paraphrasing, man. We're seeing it plain as day, and we're going into the root words, and it's breaking it down. If you have the spirit to see these things. But now I want to get it because it's even in the law, right? When you go into Leviticus right here, 19 and verse 28, it says, "You shall not make any cuttings in your flesh for the dead, nor print any marks upon you. I am Yahweh." And when you go into this word for cuttings, real quick, it says
Sharat.
Sharat. Khan. The word there's Sharat. You want to break it down, Doc? You go ahead.
Khan, sharat, that's what the English word, they say, okay, serrated, like, oh, get you a serrated knife, serrate comes from sharat, so even with the cuttings, that ultimately just goes into something that's serrated. It has like jagged edges, which essentially would be used to make an incision or to cut. If you was actually to look up what serrated mean, it has two meanings. You got the incision, but then I believe you also, if you look up serrate, it will go into pierce as well.
Let me get that real quick for you.
Can you get the Merriam-Webster?
Con.
It says notched or tooth on the edge. You scroll down. It says to mark or make with serrations. So it can go into the charagma as well, because that will leave a mark as well.
That's right. Con. Going back, it says incision cut, right? So making any cuts, that's against making any cuts in your skin, that's you breaking the laws of the Most High. So when it also says, I want to get this other word right where it says marks. I think I missed it right here. You can break it down, Knock, too.
It says kwai. You scroll down. It says incision, imprintment, tattoo, mark. It says gash or incision, and then you can scroll down a little bit, and it says a stigma. Could you? I'm gonna look up what a stigma, or can we actually get it out?
I actually got it.
Yeah.
I got
it ultimately goes back to or it can be preset with revelation.
Yeah, and we'll get that as well. So this is a stigma. The Greek meaning of stigma. It says a mark, dot, puncture. The name stigma is originally a common Greek noun meaning a mark, dot, puncture, or generally a sign. It says the related but distinct word stigma is the classical and post-classical word for geometrical point, punctuation mark.
Right. When you say something is punctured, or it punctured the skin, it went through. It wasn't. It wasn't just what these people are talking about.
Exactly. It's not just a simple like a scratch or anything. It's an actual puncture. It goes through, like you mentioned. It goes through the skin, and that's exactly what you're gonna be left with whenever that needle goes into your skin. You're gonna leave that little puncture mark. But when it comes out, you're gonna be left with that C hip inside your skin.
I got the etymology of puncture. It says small perforation or wound made by or as if by a pointed instrument. It says from late Latin punctura, a pricking, to prick, to pierce.
To pierce, exactly. And Baba Kushah, can you get that verse in Exodus 21:5?
Kai.
Because this is also in the law, right? Like we just read, not to get an incision or a mark, or not to make any cuttings under your flesh, right? But check this out when you read it in the law as far as a servant. Go ahead.
Kai, this is Shamwat, Exodus chapter 21 and verse we'll get verse 4. It says, if his master have given him a wife It's like read verse 5. Verse 5 it says, "And if the servant shall plainly say, I love my master, my wife, and my children, I would not go out free. Then his master shall bring him unto the judges. He shall also bring him to the door or unto the doorpost, and his master shall bore his ear through with an awl, and he shall serve him forever."
Right. So that all, right? That all. This right here, this this right here, this is that digital all that's going to be inserted through your skin, and that's that digital identification that you're going to be left with. You know, to that branding that's going to signify you as being a property of Esau or these Edomites. You you're essentially giving yourself over as servitude. You got it, Doc.
Actually, when you actually go into that word too, it's maratazai, salak maratazai. Essentially, it goes into, it says a boring instrument, and it says so called from its boring, and you go to the root word, and it says to bore, to pierce. You know, so it's evident. You know, it's manifest.
That's right. You know, and all these things that we're reading right now, what does all this got to do with an embargo? What's all this got to do with sinning? I mean, yeah, it's got a sin aspect to it because you're gonna pretty much go against what the Most High commanded. But the point is that you're gonna the mark itself is not sin. It's actually a device that's gonna be implanted under your skin, right? So let's go back to Revelation, and we're gonna finish this out. Revelation 13 and 17.
It says, "And that no man might buy or sell, save he that had the charagma, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name."
Mm-hmm.
It says,
"You ain't gonna be able to buy or sell, like we just mentioned." You got it, Doc.
It says, "Here is wisdom. Let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man." In which in Hebrew, the number of a man is 6, which is man, beast, and sex. But continuing on, it says, "For it is the number of a man, and his number is 603 score and 6." And if I could mention too, when you go into that word for 6, it's a Y, which in Hebrew, you know, the Y is a nail, and that essentially adds things. But you see, even with the it adds or it joins, and essentially, nail will act like a palisade. You know, and if I can get this as well, could I get one real fast? Proverbs 16:5 or 6. Yeah, 16:5.
Con. This is the book of Proverbs, chapter 16 and verse 5. It says, "Everyone that is proud in heart is an abomination to Yahweh. Though hand join in hand, he shall not be unpunished."
Right. And just like it mentions in Isaiah, the 13th chapter, I believe, essentially those is joined unto this man, you know, because going into Y, you know, that's the actual nail, you know, and the Y goes into add or to join, you know, those that essentially join, you know, and they get that charagma, they're essentially saying, hey, they're on Esau's side, you know, so they're essentially going to be punished along with Esau.
That's right. That's right. The scriptures talk about, you know, they that be found with them shall be thrust through. You know, so anybody that gets this thing, you're essentially joining sides with the enemy, and you're essentially become an enemy in the eyes of Yahweh Bashim Yahushua, and you're gonna receive that sword, that destruction. But let me go back. I want to get this 666 real quick. Right, so you see right here is, I'm actually gonna play this thing. So he said high size stigma, right? But when you go here, it doesn't really say nothing. It says 666, the meaning of which is the basis of much vain speculation. But the main word we want to get here is stigma, as we got earlier, right? Stigma, the Greek meaning is a mark, dot, or puncture. You were gonna say something, Mark?
Can you scroll down inside there? I think it's a little bit more down there.
Oh, and
Or,
this?
yeah, it might be. Unless Esau took something out. You
Yeah,
keep going.
they be revising this shit over and over again.
Yeah, they probably took it out.
Gone. Yeah, because right here it goes into something else.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but it even says a much vain speculation because these scholars they don't really understand.
Right.
They the spirit ain't dealing with them. They got a certain level of understanding, but they ain't really got the whole truth. But I got this article, or not this article, but this website called writingthebeast.com. You know, they know what it is. See, they got the C hip right here. Well, let me increase the size of the letters. There we go. It says Charagma, the mark in the mark of the beast. So again, they got it written down here too. It says the Greek word for the mark is charagma. Strong's Concordance defines charagma as a scratch or etching, a badge of servitude, as we just went into. It's a
Mm-hmm.
badge of servitude. Um, Scroll more down. Again, that's that palisade. It's gonna go into your skin, resembling the tooth of a serpent.
Mm-hmm.
Esau is that serpent from the garden. Scriptures say, "Thou old serpent, which is the devil," roughly paraphrasing. But that's this. We're gonna see that Esau's gonna try to take a bite off of y'all, man.
I got scripture if I can.
Come on, you got it, Doc.
So this is Bonsarat chapter 12 and verse 12. It says set. I'll start at verse 10. Bonsarat 12 and 10, it says, never trust thine enemy. So you Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans, you have enemies, was Esau, Edom, and the rest of these heathen. It says, for like his iron rusted, so is his wickedness. So just like with iron, when it has rust up there, you can try to, everything that you can possible to get it away, but it's gonna come right back. So continuing on, which essentially it's a analogy for Esau, because he was made to be the wicked. Verse 11, though he humble himself and go crouching, yet take good heed and beware of him, and thou shalt be unto him as if thou hadst wiped a looking glass, and thou shalt know that his rust hath not been altogether wiped away. Because essentially, a lot of times Esau humble himself, and then you got the masters of Jake. They essentially like, because for example, time periods of where Jake is going through something like with the with the different riots. Jake might have got shot or something like that. And then Jake is feeling it. And then Esau come out and be like, hey, we gonna do this. We can give y'all reparations.
Right.
Essentially that's him humbling himself. Verse 12, it says, set him not by thee, lest when he hath overthrown thee, he stand up in thy place, neither let him sit at thy right hand, lest he seek to take thy seat, and thou at the last remember my words, and be pricked therewith. Verse 13, the point. It says, who will pity a charmer that is bitten with a serpent, or any such as come nigh wild beast? You see, and Esau will be that wild beast, but you got Jake that, for so long, that they've been willing to subscribe to this man's philosophies and way of life, you see, but, unbeknownst to Jake, and it, so you got some Jake that do know it, but they still willing to ultimately be in this man's system. You see, so they're essentially going to get bit by a wild beast, who is Esau Edom, and get bit with that snake juice, which represents the charagma,
Con. And when you go down here, right, scroll more down here in this webpage, it says well, it shows the chi or the chai, the psi, and the stigma, right? At 600, 60, and 6. That's what it equals up to, right? But as you see the symbols, you got these symbols, this one resembles like a snake. You got the X right here, which we see Esau use the X all the time. And when you go into like the medical system, I forgot the actual idol that goes back to as far as the serpent on that little pole.
I think it's the something of a Asclepius or something like that.
I remember, yeah, something like that. I can't remember exactly how it's pronounced, but yeah, it goes into that. It's like an old idol back in Rome.
Yeah,
But this,
rod of Asclepius, which goes back to Greek mythology, and a lot of times you'll see it on the like the ambulance.
mm-hmm,
You see it. I got it right here. It'd be on the ambulance, and then it'd be on hospitals and stuff.
mm-hmm, exactly. And then you got the stigma, which this is the one that we went into that goes into a mark, a dot, a puncture, right? But let me see. I think there was something else I wanted to get. Uh, I'll read this. It says it should be noted that stigma is based on the ancient Greek uh, digama. It must
But
not be, huh?
I believe they might have was talking about dogma, but I could be wrong.
Oh, okay, con. It says it must not be confused with the modern Greek sigma. It carried the meaning of a mark, dot, puncture, or generally a sign, right? Because this is going to be a sign of servitude. This is going to be a sign of you being a servant unto Esau's system. Because eventually, what's going to happen is, if you don't got this, you're going to be like I mentioned, excommunicated. You're going to be exiled. You're going to be off grid. You ain't going to be able to function within society because this is going to be the sign that this is going to be used. Because now you got what? You got your passport, you got your ID, you got your birth certificate, your social security card, all these things to use to be able to function within society. But now you're gonna need to get this. This is gonna be the sign that you're gonna use in order to show that you're one with the system. But it says as well as a mark from a pointed instrument, often as a sign of ownership, mark, brand, tattoo. Exactly as the brother read in Exodus 21:5, right? That branding. This is exactly what this is. This is what it's going into. This can't be nothing else than this. It can't be nothing else than this because everybody sins. We ain't perfect here in this life. Everybody sins, so that means we all got the mark of the beast. It can't be an embargo. That don't make no sense. So it can only be this, man. We done broke it down. When it shows you evidently, plain as day, that it can only be the micro C hip, an implantable device under the skin. But yeah, that's pretty much all I had. Doc, you had anything else?
Wow.
Con.
Well, no,
Yep.
yeah, I got one. We got
Con.
Isaiah 36:6.
Con. Isaiah 36 and verse 6, it says, Lo, thou trustest in the staff of this broken reed on Egypt, whereon if a man lean, it will go into his hand and pierce it. So is Pharaoh, king of Egypt, to all that trust in him.
All right, pretty much going back to the point that we mentioned that though hand join in hand, the wicked shall not go unpunished, roughly paraphrasing. So the
Mm-hmm.
Jakes that go down to Egypt, for help, they're essentially going to be destroyed right along with this man. But it says, Lo, thou trustest in the staff of this broken reed. Essentially, the Lord is already, he's smiting Egypt.
Mm-hmm.
And Jake can see the plagues happening. Which now they're calling the plagues polycrises. Esau puts his name on different things, but essentially it just goes back to the plagues of Egypt. And Jake sees this stuff going on. But Jake, doesn't have that spiritual eye salve to repent. They're not going to repent. So that's why essentially that they're going to be destroyed. So it says, whereon if a man lean, it will go into his hand and pierce it. So it's Pharaoh, king of Egypt, to all that trust in him. So Jake essentially leans, which a staff represents some type of support. Jake essentially leans and looks to Esau for help. It's essentially going to be Jake's demise.
Right. Because a lot of Jake is so dependent upon the government assistance, the government helps, all these things. Jake don't really trust or turn to the Lord for anything. Only whenever shit gets real bad, to where the grandmama dies or the mama dies, then they start saying, "Oh, why, Lord? Oh, why?" But hey, y'all, the whole time y'all been living some wicked ass lives, man. And this plagues that's coming, hey, this is gonna take Jake through a loop, man, to the point where they're really gonna be, when Esau comes out with the MOTB, Jake is just gonna line up and just take it, man. Jake's gonna line up and take it, and like it says, lo, thou trustest in the staff of this broken reed, because when you go into a broken reed, it stabs through you, but also it's twofold. When you say you're walking, right? You're walking and you have this reed that's like about to snap. Of course, you lean on it, it's gonna pierce you, man. It's gonna fuck you up. That's essentially what trusting in Egypt, trusting in Esau in America is gonna get Jake fucked up, man.
Right, and essentially, just laying back on off your point, it says, "Lo, thou trust in the staff of this broken reed on Egypt, whereon if a man leaning will go into his hand and pierce it." Because if you was walking with that broken reed, which when we talk about walking in the scriptures, talking about the conversation. So Jake trusts in the conversation, the way of life, the manner of life of Esau, Edom, so much so to where they're willing to go and get that piercing, when they some of them ultimately realize it's going to be to their demise, as well.
Right, because I know I had several talks with Jake in his world, and a lot of Jake, they're just so concerned with themselves and so concerned with trying to live a comfortable lifestyle. They ain't
Right.
really concerned of trying to get better or trying to escape judgment. They're more like, well, if it happens, it happens. I'm gonna try to live as comfortably as I can until it happens.
Right. That's why the scriptures say, the different men of the Lord, the prophets, they'll say, how long? And the Lord said essentially to, the cities is without inhabitants, That's when Jake gonna realize,
Exactly. That's when Jake's gonna actually try to find some help, but by then it's gonna be too late.
Right.
But yeah, that was all I had, bro. We'll go ahead and close it out unless you had something else.
Bye.
Con. Oh wait, I got some presets from the brother Bar. Hey, Shalom, Yahweh Shem Al Shabrakatah.
Shalom, shalom.
Let me get this one from him. Revelation 16 and verse 1. It says, "And I heard a great voice out of the temple saying to the seven angels, Go your way and pour out the vials of the wrath of the Most High upon the earth. And the first and the first went and poured out his vial upon the earth, and there fell a noisome and grievous sore upon the men which had the mark of the beast, and upon them which worshipped his image." Right, because that's essentially what's going to happen. Once they activate that 5G or that 6G, these people that they're gonna get fucked up. Which is, it ain't no coincidence that there's talks of a 6G coming out whenever all this shit is about to roll out, man. It ain't gonna be it ain't no coincidence. But either ways, they're gonna have that cancer, that sore, that boil rising up out of their hand or their arm or shit, even their head. People that got that brain chip, they're gonna be looking like some shit off of fucking what's that show? What's that movie? Total Recall. You know what I'm saying? Having that deformed ass head. Let me see. Let me get another one. Slovakia. Let's get this one from the brother Bar as well. Jeremiah 17 and 5. It says, "Thus saith Yahweh, Cursed be the man that trusteth in man and maketh flesh his arm, and whose heart departeth from Yahweh." You want to break it down, Ak?
It says, "Thus saith the Lord, Cursed be the man that trusteth in man and maketh flesh his arm." You see, because essentially it says, "In whose heart departed from the Lord," which Jacob go down, and seek help from Egypt, from bondage, because Egypt will be would be bondage, like it says in Exodus, But essentially, that's Jake trusting in man, essentially, so for a left hand form of salvation, and it says, "Maketh flesh his arm, and whose heart departed from the Lord." So in doing so, that's essentially departing from the Lord, But you got 2/3, they're ultimately in the end, they're gonna be comfortable doing that, That's why the scriptures say, the Lord has reserved 7,000 men, that's not going to bow the knee to the image, because the masses of Israel is going to go down and essentially make Esau their trust.
That's right. That's right. Hey, shalom. To the brother Bayana.
Shalom, shalom.
Shalom. I'll get one more. Again from the brother Debar. This is Revelation 14 and verse 9. It says, "And the third angel followed them, saying with a loud voice, If any man worship the beast and his image, and receive his mark in his forehead or in his right hand," it says, "the same shall drink of the wine of the wrath of the Most High, which is poured out without mixture into the cup of his indignation. And he shall be tormented with fire and brimstone in the presence of the holy angels and the presence of the Lamb." So that's
Mm-hmm.
essentially what's going to happen. Total destruction, right? That's going to be the reward of those that take this MARK.
Mm-hmm.
So that's pretty much it. That's pretty much it. I'm gonna go ahead and close it out. Lord willing, this lesson was edifying. I'm gonna go ahead and close it out by giving all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Racha HaKodash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone who taught us this truth and rule well. Peace and blessings unto the hopeful elect, pushing his word throughout the four corners of the earth in truth, righteousness, and sincerity. Till the next time, we're going to say Shalom.
Shalom.